more and more people are being hit with these unexpected medical costs when they go in and have a surgery. Now, usually when you schedule a surgery, you'll do so with a doctor that's within your healthcare network, right? So you'll have your insurance company pay for the majority of the costs. But now all of a sudden, you're seeing the emergence of all of these out-of-network physicians coming into the hospital, apparently working their magic when you least expect it and when you don't know it, and then they'll send you a bill later that your insurance company is unlikely to pay you for. So the New York Times did a great profile piece on a guy by the name of Peter Drier, and he had an issue with a herniated disc in his neck. So as a result, he had to have a very pricey surgery. So let me first let you know exactly how expensive this surgery is, and this is what his health insurance was able to help him pay. Mr. Drier was prepared when the bills started arriving. $56,000 from Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, $4,300 from the anesthesiologist, and even $133,000 from the orthopedist, who he knew would accept a fraction of that fee. So those are the bills he expected.
Right. It's a little unclear to me what the insurance was going to pay and whatnot. By the way, the anesthesiologist there, the only reasonable guy. Like
yeah.
The hospital's $56,000. The orthopedist, $133,000. I got it. God bless him. Apparently, he's going to take 10, you know,
right,
or a fraction. But is the insurance, or does Peter have to pay this? Because you have a herniated disc.
Well, all of these physicians were in his network.
All right.
Yeah, so he's not going to pay the full cost of those bills. Okay, so his insurance will cover a portion of those. But then all of a sudden, there's an out-of-network doctor who gets involved that he was completely unaware of. So here's what the New York Times has to say. He was blindsided by a bill of about $117,000 from an assistant surgeon, a Queens-based neurosurgeon who Mr. Drier did not recall meeting.
Jesus.
So what's insane about this is this doctor comes in, he's out of network, the insurance doesn't cover it. So he's like, all right, well, I have no choice. I need to negotiate, right? Let's look at the video and see what happens.
It was hard to realize that I couldn't change it. I saw something so egregiously wrong that I couldn't beat the medical billing administrators that knew how to say the right things and never said anything wrong and knew the laws backwards because it's their job to maximize somebody's profits. Sending that check was it was disappointing because I didn't get to change anything. My grandiose ideas of making the world a little bit better didn't really come to fruition in that regard. I wanted to save some of the money and send it back to the insurance company or some kind of charity, and that didn't happen. So.
Now, thankfully,
you wanted to send it to the insurance company or some kind of charity?
I don't know what he meant in that last part.
I recommend the charity.
Yes.
Just to, you know,
yes.
It's your money, but.
Now, thankfully, in his case, he contacted his insurance company, he told them what happened, and he was really lucky because his insurance company said, all right, you know what, we're going to cover the cost. I think he had to pay around $600 of that $117,000 bill. Okay, but that doesn't happen often. He got lucky. Mr. Drier got lucky, but a lot of people don't get lucky.
6,000, not 600. 6,000.
Oh, 6,000. Okay,
still a lot, but still not 117,000.
Yeah, and this is someone that he doesn't even recall meeting. How insane is that?
It's the assistant surgeon. What kind of assistant surgeon charges $117,000 for herniated disc surgery? I mean, it's just the costs are so, I get it, it's expensive in the hospital administration, but the whole thing is jacked up. The whole thing is flawed. Like, I mean, you add up all those bills, the $56,000 and the $4, that's $60, and then $113 is $173, and then $117 from the other guy. We're at $280,000.
It's insane. It's insane, and that's the reason why healthcare reform was so important. It wasn't exactly what we wanted, right? But if you don't have insurance and you have a herniated disc, you're screwed. Your life is over, okay? Who can afford that kind of cost?
Jesus, yeah.
Who can afford that? And apparently, even if you are insured, you're still screwed because some doctor that's not in your network is gonna get involved without your consent. At least that's what it seems like in this case. And then you're gonna get hit with a $117,000 bill. Who the hell can pay that? It makes me so freaking angry. So you have legislators who are trying to like clamp down on this because they notice that their constituents are really getting screwed over by it. And of course, lobbying plays a role. And as a result, regulations that would prevent this kind of stuff from happening are not actually passing, right? And it's the big issue with money in politics. We all know it. wolf-pack.com. Check it out.
By the way, the assistant doctor is named Dr. Harrison T. Mu, M.U. Let's not pretend that's not a funny name. And oddly enough, didn't respond to the New York Times requests for anything.
Odd.
Yeah, weird.
All right, so let me break it down a little more for you guys so you know exactly why this is happening. According to the New York Times, in an increasingly common practice that some medical experts call drive-by doctoring, assistants, consultants, and other hospital employees are charging patients or their insurers hefty fees. They may be called in when the need for them is questionable, okay? The patients usually do not realize they've been involved or are charging until the bill arrives. So that's like the crazy part about it, right?
Yeah, you know why? Because you're unconscious, you're having surgery.
Yeah. And so like they bring in some dude or some woman who does what she needs to do, and all of a sudden you're hit with this bill. The practice increases revenue for physicians and other healthcare workers at a time when insurers are cutting down reimbursement for many services. The surprise charges can be especially significant because, as in Mr. Drier's case, they may involve out-of-network providers who bill 20 to 40 times the usual local rates and often collect the full amount or a substantial portion.
Yeah, this is all messed up. This is all a scam. There's one other woman here in the story, Patricia Kaufman. Did you see this part of the story? She had a recent back surgery at Long Island Hospital. She said her husband, Alan, sorted through the bills for a couple of days. 2 plastic surgeons in her surgery after her back operation. Again, this is not an elective surgery, presumably. She has a back operation. 2 plastic surgeons billed more than $250,000 to sew up her incision. What? Yeah, I don't know. Have someone else do it. Can we find someone in network to sew up my incision, and I'll pay $2,500 maybe instead of $250,000?
It's
crazy.
insane.
The insurer paid $10,000 to those plastic surgeons. They got the bill for the other $240,000. Imagine if you're a normal person, you don't have, because that guy Drier sounded like he had the money at first, right? You know, but imagine, as most people don't have $240,000.
Yeah, what happens to you?
So you don't pay it. You have to go, and because of the enormous pressure that the financial industry wields on Congress, you might have to declare bankruptcy. But you can't declare bankruptcy. A giant company can declare bankruptcy. A bank can literally declare bankruptcy. The government can bail them out. Financial services industries, they can declare bankruptcy. Anybody who has money, Donald Trump gets to declare bankruptcy. Donald Trump gets to open casinos in Atlantic City and then have them completely crumble and fold because he's incompetent. He's a fake showman. He can declare bankruptcy. You get $250,000 bill for your back surgery and then can't make your house payment. Fuck off. You don't get any protection. And that is solely 100% because the credit card companies want to make sure that you can't, because then they won't get paid.
Yep.
It's a hideous outrage. Elizabeth Warren for president.